Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 8th of July. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Members of the Port Waikato whitebaiting community and the wider public are being invited to a series of meetings this month to discuss the way forward for the whitebait fishery and related environmental and safety issues. The three community hui come after the release earlier this year of a baseline report on whitebait stands and associated structures in the lower Waikato River between Tuakau and Port Waikato. The report, compiled by Waikato Raupatu River Trust and Waikato Regional Council, identified a range of matters related to whitebait stands and associated batches. The hui will be held at Tuakau on Thursday the 17th of July, Waiuku Thursday the 24th of July and Friday the 20th of July for Port Waikato. Visit the Waikato Regional Council's website for more details on those meetings. Super Rugby lock Callum Retallick will lead a Bay of Plenty Steamers featuring a dozen new faces into this season's ITM Cup campaign. Steamers coaches Kevin Schuler and Rodney Gibbs announced the final makeup of their 31-man squad last week after 15 weeks of combative Bayfair Baywide Premier Club rugby and 2 trial matches. Kevin says the goal now is to get into the premiership.
The dream this year is about being relentless, so we want a group of boys out on the paddock that just go non-stop and never say die, so that's what we're building the team around.
The 2-day Upper North Island Boschia Championships were held in Hamilton over the weekend. Of 28 to 29 and of the 20 participants, it was local athletes who enjoyed notable success. Boschia is a sport designed for individuals with physical impairments and is best described as an indoor version of petanque with soft lever balls. After topping the group in pool play, 2-time Paralympian Maurice Toon was too strong for the rest of his competition en route to claiming the gold medal in 3 different grades. The tournament also unlocked another local star in Vishal Chandra, who lost the final 3-11 against Toon, but was thrilled to take away the silver. Bay Twisters cheerleaders are cheering louder than ever after receiving a number of medals, including one for the best tumbling sequence at their very first major competition. A total of 40 girls from Bay Twisters competed in the Twisted Boom Creative Cheer and Dance competition hosted by American company Twisted Cheer at Auckland's ASB Stadium on Saturday. The teams took home 5 first-place wins, 3 seconds and a 3rd placing, including an award for the best tumbling sequence of the day. A recently released New Zealand Institute of Rural Health study on rural maternity services consumer engagement into the Midland region has found some room for improvement, including improving access to lead maternity carers. The aim of the study was to identify areas where improvements could be made to ensure rural women had equitable access to Midland's maternity services. Camilla Gossman and Professor Lawrenson recently presented the study's key themes to the Midland Maternity Action Group, MMAG, which had emerged after listening to the experiences and perceptions of consumers from across the region. Professor Lawrenson highlighted to the MMAG what consumers considered important: access to services, an emphasis on the quality care and consideration of cultural needs, the information needs of consumers, and the importance of family whānau as parents in the care of pregnant women. Now for the marine forecast. West Coast, Raglan, there is a gale force warning. Please check metservice.co.nz for more information. High tide is at 6:48 a.m. in Raglan. East Coast, Bay of Plenty, easterly 20 knots but 35 knots in the west. Rain at times heavy in the west, but you might be best to check metservice.co.nz too, as there are strong winds predicted for tomorrow in the Bay too. High tide is at 4:12 p.m. Still to come on Central News, woolly trees thanks to the yarn bombing, and Harry McCleary is so near. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. It has been a couple of years in the making for Tracy Ruddock-Goodsall of Creative Tauranga, but the Harry McCleary statues for the waterfront of Tauranga are so close to being installed. there is only a smidgen of the funding to be raised.
Harry McCleary project, we hope, is on a home run. We're sort of just at our last stage of fundraising, so around 125,000 still to go. Sounds a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, we've come a long way. So there is a bit of a corporate challenge on at the moment, Hilary. One of the local businesses put $1,000 up and challenged the business community to match $1,000. So for that $1,000, you will get your name, family name or business name recorded on the acknowledgement panel at the site for 100 years. So not bad, really. So if anyone's keen, they can contact Creative Tauranga and we can put you in the right direction for the bank account.
And National Poetry Day is coming up, isn't it, in August?
Yes, well that's coming up in August, but there's already a bit of excitement around National Poetry Day. I think it's around the 22nd of August. But we have a gorgeous article on it in Creative Beat this month, so worth actually popping onto our website or Facebook pages, and we now have a fantastic flip book that you can follow and read online.
But you actually have Mervyn Whittle Jr. coming in July to help celebrate poetry. Is that right?
Yes, Mervyn Whitley Jr. is the author of They of Stars. Some people have probably experienced some of his readings around town over the last few months, but he's coming in to do a special reading for us on the 24th of July at 5:30, and it's a poem about a breakup really, and it's to the music of Halo by Beyonce. I have experienced it, he did run it by me, and it is moving to say the least, and having the choir in the background, it's quite an experience. So I'd encourage everyone to come along, it's free, so come in and spend a chilly winter's evening in the warmth of Creative Tauranga.
And Maria, can you tell us about the gallery space? You guys are actually doing something a little bit different and something a little bit special with it this time, aren't you?
We have a new exhibition starting up on the 23rd of July and going through to the 12th of September, and the opening night will be on the 25th, which is a Friday.
So what will actually be in here?
It's called Collectively Independent. Yeah, so it'll be wall spaces hired by local artists, and yeah, if you want to come and hire a wall space, it's $60 for a wall or $30 for a plinth or a small wall.
And Boys Toys sounds like quite an interesting, fun exhibition.
Oh, Boys Toys, that's been running at the gorgeous Lightwave Gallery on Totara Street at Mount Maunganui, Ken Wright's gallery. He has a Boys Toys. It's a fantastic exhibition. You actually have to see it to believe it and understand what it's all about. So it's certainly worth a visit over to Totara Street. There's a number of different mediums for sale, and yeah, just go and have a bit of fun and experience Lightwave's latest exhibition.
If you'd like to find out more about any of these events or exhibitions, you can visit creativetauranga.org.nz, where you can also download a copy of Creative Beat. This is the time of year when submissions are laid to rest and council plans are signed off. I spoke with Mayor Ross Patterson of the Western Bay of District Council to discuss their annual plan and, of course, rates increases.
Total take's about 4.9 up on last year, that's the total take. Part of that though we have put in 0.5% for growth, so that's not paid by the existing ratepayers, that's income that comes from new work during the year. So Mr Average will fall at about a 4.5, somewhere around there. But of course it varies. If you're in the water, wastewater and stormwater charges, then it could be slightly higher. If you're rural, orcharding, lifestyle, and you look after a lot of those costs yourselves, then it could be 1 or 2%. So it does fluctuate.
A bit of a contentious issue throughout the submissions hearings was the Katikati Heritage Museum. So what was the outcome there?
The outcome's been quite positive. The council has stepped in to protect the articles of the museum. The museum has closed. It had an unsustainable bottom line. It has closed, and we're looking to relocate it into the old Fire Brigade building in Katikati, and the cost structure of that will be borne from the rate reserve. So the cost won't fall on any one section of the community or right across the district in any form of rates.
There will now be a single charge for District's 5 wastewater schemes and a single charge for the 3 water schemes. What does that mean?
We're amalgamating, we have 5 wastewater schemes and we're bringing them into one scheme. 3 of them are new schemes, 2 of them are repairs, renewals. 2 of those will have costs coming in the next few years though of resource consents, and the possible discharge line that goes across the harbour and out to sea for the Katikati one. Now, by doing this, it takes those sharp spikes of costs in any one year out and spreads it across the district. It just makes it easier on all those who use water across the district, that they do not, in their own small areas, have a large charge that comes in any one year.
So are we looking at a new pipeline?
That's a possibility, but at this stage we're working through our long-term plan, and that could be a possibility of how we protect the future of that and what the condition of it is.
This annual plan had quite a big focus on debt, so how are the books looking for this year?
Books are looking good. We have had a very strong fiscal control over the last 2 or 3 years, made some pretty hard decisions. We have managed to drop our debt again. It's going to sit at about the $139 million, which is well below where we thought we'd be, about $150 million. So we're quite happy where we are. Whether we get substantial reduction in debt in the next year is wait to be seen yet on how the year goes.
Mokoroa is looking like it will get a bit of an upgrade in this annual plan.
Very important for Mokoroa. They have been waiting on sports facilities and recreation for a while. We have a park there waiting for development. Tennis, so there's 2 new tennis courts going in, and we're also going to the school and helping them refurbish their surface of their courts so that they're available as well for the public use, working with the school. The local school has come in and said, hey, we'd like a skate path, and that's a path, not a skate bowl. And children have put that up, so we said yes, we'll fund part of that, but you need to help us in funding. And that is the recreation work in the first year that we have for Mokoroa, but there is more to come once we get through the long-term plan next year.
A copy of the Council's annual plan is available on their website, westernbayofplenty.dc.gov.nz. Just ahead, wool all over the streets of Greaton. Welcome back to Central News. It is definitely colder and we are officially in the wintry months of the year. While we may be able to dress warmer, have you ever thought about those poor deciduous trees feeling naked without their leaves? Well, the trees of Greaton will be feeling quite warm, I imagine, thanks to the help of some very kind locals. I'm here with 2 yarn bombers in Greaton who are actually bombing yarn as we speak. Wendy, tell us about your piece. Which is your piece here in Greaton?
My piece is a large fairy called Tinkerbell. Part of her is actually the tree itself, so her arms are the branches. But she came out quite big, so I call her Tinkerbell on steroids.
And are the children actually scared of her being on steroids, or they actually quite like her?
Well, I thought myself that she did look a bit scary, but no, they seem to really like her. Kids aren't worried about size, they just like the colour.
So it's a group of women.
There was 4 of us did it, and yeah, we've been doing it for about 4 or 5 months, off and on. We meet once a fortnight and decided what we'd do next, and just carried on knitting.
So would you sit around watching the rugby, or would you sit around a cappuccino knitting away together, or?
No, we'd have a meeting at somebody's house, and then we'd go home and do our own bits in our own place. So the most enjoyment was knitting for the little tiny dolls. It was quite exciting, actually, funnily enough.
Was there a bit of competition, every time you met up, was there a bit of competition to see who had done the most?
No, we all had jobs to do and we just did them. Nobody did any more. One put it all together, she had the brains, and we listened to her.
There's always the brains behind it, isn't there?
Always the brains behind it, and they're not mine.
And have the kids loved your fairy tale and Storybook theme?
Well, I hear there's been a lot around looking at it. I haven't seen any, because I live further down the road, so I don't. But they tell me that they're all interested in it, and we haven't lost anything from there. There's lots of things there.
That's very good that nobody's come out and everyone kind of
destroyed
anything,
no.
no, it would be an absolute disaster. But how long have you been knitting? How much skill does this take to yarn bomb?
Well, I've been knitting for years, but it doesn't take too much skill to yarn bomb. just a bit of fun, really.
Yeah?
And if you ask if anyone says, what are you knitting? And you say you're knitting for trees, they ask me if I've gone a bit off the beam.
Off the limb.
Off the limb, yeah.
And how long have you been knitting?
Well, I can't actually knit, but I crochet.
Oh,
there's a difference.
There we go.
But, probably about 30 years, I suppose. But we've had people learn and still do the trees. Doesn't take long.
There is quite a difference, isn't there? You've got one needle and Maria's got two. Well, there we
Yeah,
go.
well, she's more important than me, so she needs two.
I can't do what she does.
You can't crochet?
No, I can't.
There we go. Well, there we go. We've learnt something today on Central News. A crocheter cannot knit and a knitter cannot crochet. Make sure you head on down to Greeton to see this amazing initiative before it is all taken down at the end of July. As of February 2014, only 69.57% of the 18 to 24-year-old demographic have enrolled to vote, compared to 97.24% for those aged 50 to 54. But it's not just the youth. The overall voter turnout in 1981 was 85%, and in 2011 it was 69%, according to the Electoral Commission. Some local students in Tauranga are hoping to tackle this issue by holding a political debate and have invited all local parties and candidates. So how bad are the numbers amongst local students?
It's a massive issue. It's an issue that probably affects a large majority of youth. I know from the beginning of the year we initiated a small survey of about 50 students, and almost 50% of those students couldn't actually name Simon Bridges as their local MP. So that just kind of puts it into perspective as to who we're sending into the voting booth.
And Kirsten, you're hoping to encourage the young voters to get out there and vote. How do you hope to do that?
So we're working with the local electoral office and inviting all our local candidates along on campus for a bit of a panel just to talk about what they stand for. So yeah, just basically putting the students in front of them and easily accessible, and showing the students that it's, we do care, and it's not all about issues that don't affect them. And they can ask questions directly.
What has been the general reaction from politicians? Are they happy to come along and they're quite abiding?
Yeah, I've been absolutely blown away. I've pretty much had a 100% response, so saying yes from all local parties, and even some delegates coming from Wellington. So yeah, really surprised.
Taylor, what do you think are the important voting subjects to youth?
A lot of them are around financials. So of course there's the cost of living that's going up. But the allowances and loans from StudyLink aren't actually increasing, so it's getting harder and harder for students to live day to day. There's things like climate change, environmental issues as well. Students really latch onto. For a lot of the older students, there's things like their accessibility to allowances and loans as well. I know there's an age threshold when they're not actually allowed to access allowances anymore. So that becomes an issue if they want to progress on to postgrad or masters or PhD. It becomes a lot harder for them to study and progress further in life. So.
And do you know any parties, have they addressed their educational policies yet?
I haven't heard any yet. I think all the education policies are still going through the process of coming out, so no, I don't know any yet for tertiary students.
The forum will be held on Wednesday, the 20th of August from 12 to 1 p.m, H110 Lecture Theatre, Windermere campus of the Bay of Plenty Polytechnic Tauranga. Coming up next, your weather and the one-day challenge. Welcome back. This July, you can support the courage of kids with cancer by choosing just one day to raise funds for those kids who overcome challenges every day. In Tauranga, there is something a little different happening though.
Well, the One Day Challenge is where we ask either businesses or individuals to set themselves a one-day challenge to fundraise for the Child Cancer Foundation, and they've got to have lots of fun with it.
Why have you called this campaign One Day?
Well, for children with cancer, getting through one more day of treatments and procedures actually takes courage, so we took it from there.
But we actually have something special and unique to Tauranga happening. What's that going to involve?
We do indeed. Thanks very much to Metal Co here in Mount Maunganui. We're having a metal recycling fundraiser. So on Friday the 26th and the 27th of July, we're going to be inviting everyone to bring all of their scrap metal down, and Metal Co will sort it and pop it into all the right bins and be actually donating the proceeds to the Child Cancer Foundation.
Kirk, why did Metal Co want to get involved with the One Day campaign?
We've actually been involved with Dylan and the Child Cancer Foundation for some time, and we have a permanent bin at site where people can always donate to the Child Cancer. And when Dylan approached us about the One Day, we thought it'd be a good thing to promote both us and the Child Cancer and get some scrap recycled.
Can we bring all types of metal in?
Yes, you can. The only things we won't accept are gas bottles and pressure cylinders and any electronic type waste, TVs, computers, screens, that sort of stuff. But other than that, the boys will grade it as they see it and as it comes in.
There was pretty heavy winds with all those storms recently, and there were a few stray trampolines blowing around the city. Can we bring those in?
Yep, they're predominantly metal. I mean, we'll make adjustments for the trampoline mat and stuff, but by all means, yep.
And Darwin, One Day is not just about metal though. How else can we get involved?
Well, it's only limited to people's imagination. They can set themselves all sorts of different kinds of challenges. Fundraise, it might be hosting a morning tea. We've got the Pause group who are in-home in-home education for children. The Pause Network, one of them is having a walkathon around the Mount, and the Tauranga one is having a high tea for all of the children and in their staff and officers, all to raise funds for Child Cancer Foundation.
Beads of courage. What are those?
Well, these just aren't pretty plastic little glass beads. These are an amazing therapeutic tool, so that the children, when they're wearing all of their beads, that's all of every single treatment or procedure that they've gone through in their journey. So they're pretty much wearing their story, their cancer story around their neck, and they can use that to relate to all of the health providers, anyone that they need to talk to about it, and they just love them.
When, where, how do we get involved with One Day?
It's really simple, Hilary. All people need to do is go to www.childcancer.org.nz, and all of the information about One Day, how to register, how to get some downloadable goodies to help with their fundraising, and there's also contact details if they want to reach myself or Metal Co recyclers to ask any further information.
To sign up, visit childcancer.org.nz. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, your Wednesday will have some thick high cloud hanging around and a strong gusty easterly. Your expected high is 14 and an overnight low of 10. The rest of the Waikato, rain, heavy falls about the Kaimai Range and a few spots of rain elsewhere. Gusty easterlies, gale in exposed places. Paeroa 15 and 10, Matamata 13 and 12, Te Awamutu 14 and 10 and Tokoroa 12 and 9. Bay Plenty, Tauranga, rain at times with a gusty easterly. Your expected high is 16 and 11. The rest of the Bay Plenty, rain at times in the west with heavy falls and a few spots of rain elsewhere. Easterlies, gale in exposed places. Te Puke, your expected temperatures are 14 and 11. That is Central News for today. Like us on Facebook and post us a comment on your thoughts or email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz. Join me again tomorrow night for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay Plenty. I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.